Sure. Okay, Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. It's 9 o'clock. So we'll get started. Hopefully you had it, you could catch up with the keynote speech from Swamiji, kicking off the Bhagavad Gita Jayanti Summit 2022. It was a beautiful lecture. We'll talk about some of the nuggets as well during our sessions as well. But let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. So welcome everybody. I'm going to share my screen and we shall get underway. Okay. All right, Radhe Radhe everyone. Let's get started with our opening prayers like we always do. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening everyone. Let's get started. So yesterday we quickly did that. We'll discuss some more aspects of the shloka. So I've picked up the same shloka for today as well. I'll recite it and you are welcome to follow along, especially if you didn't get a chance yesterday. Nasti buddhi yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shanti Shantasya kuta sukham. All right, so do we have any volunteers? All right. Our
Shyamji.
right. Yes.
Okay. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Shyamji.
Nasti buddhir yuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na cha bhayayat shantir ashantasya kutha sukham. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Very nice, Shyamji. Okay.
Yeah, Sumeshji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Sumeshji.
I'm unable to unmute him.
Okay, let me try. We are not able to unmute you, Sumeshji. Something is not right at your end. You may want to check it.
Yeah,
Okay.
now.
Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata santi santasya kuta sukham.
It's
Thank you,
actually
Radhe Radhe.
ashantasya kuta sukham. It's not shantasya. Ashantasya. It changes the whole. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Let's pick up a few more hands.
Dineshji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Dineshji.
Radhe Radhe. Naste buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata sante asantasya kuta sukham. Radhe
Wonderful.
Radhe.
Very nice, Dineshji. Radhe Radhe. Okay. We can take the remaining hands as well.
Yes, Ashutoshji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe. Nasti buddhiriyuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayatah santir ashantasya kutah sukham. Radhe Radhe.
Wonderful. Very nice. Thank you,
Sandhya,
Ash.
please go. Sandhya, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Radhe Radhe. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayatah shanti Ashantasya kutah sukham.
Very nice. There, Radhe Radhe. All right. How many more hands do we have?
5 more, I
Yeah, I
guess.
think we can cover all. Let's do that. Freeze it at this number.
Yes. Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न च भावयतः शान्तिर् अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्.
Wonderful. Very nice, Aparna ji. Thank you. All right. Last 3 hands.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Nasti buddhi ayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavatya shanti ajantasya kuta sukham. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Sam ji.
Uday Kumar ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे नास्ति
Radhe.
बुद्धिरायुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न च भावयतः शान्तिर् अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Uday ji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, we can pick up the remaining hands.
Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe ji.
Yeah, please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe. Yeah, thank you. Radhe Radhe. Nasti buddhirayuktasya na ca yuktasya bhavana na ca bhavyata shanti ashantasya kuta sukham.
Wonderful. Very nice, Pragi ji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, last 2 hands.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Riya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Riya ji.
नास्ति बुद्धि अयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न च भावयत शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe. Very nice, Riya ji. Last but not the least, Ramesh ji.
Yes, Ramesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
Radhe Radhe. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न च भावयत शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्.
Beautiful, Ramesh ji. Very nice. So let's get started. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is telling, but an undisciplined mind who has not controlled the mind, undisciplined person who has not controlled the mind and senses, can neither have a resolute intellect nor steady contemplation on God. For one who never unites the mind with God, there is no peace. And how can one who lacks peace be happy? So time and again, this message is coming, from different angles, that the only way to peace, joy, bliss, happiness is to find ways to attach your mind to God and start building that consciousness. And if you don't do that, then it's like no God, no peace, no God, no peace. Yesterday we spoke about that concept, right? So let's quickly do a recap of that. And this is what we were talking about yesterday, that we are naturally and spontaneously in love with world and the world related subjects, and we saw the reason behind that we are cut from the same cloth, our mind is cut from the same cloth as this material world, so that natural affinity is towards somebody who is sajatiya, who has the same sambandh of the same nature, material nature, right? So we spoke about this concept. Now in one of the previous sessions, we were talking about God has his ways of teaching us and making us progress. He's a perfect teacher. We do Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. So God is a perfect teacher, and he has his ways of making us learn in life. And he has a perfect plan for all of us. So I came across a beautiful quotation. I thought I'll share it in this session. Let's start with that, and then we'll get into the topic of our discussion today. So let's look at this one. For the prayers that we do, it's related to that. So The prayer says, I asked for strength. And then God, what does God do? God gave me difficulties to make me strong. So we go to God with our wish list, right? As if when we do the temple bell, we ring the bell. It's almost like calling upon the cosmic bellboy. I have come here to you with my wish list. It's about time you answer my prayers. Okay, so now it is for our own satisfaction we do that, because God has a perfect justice dispensing system, unless of course we have entered into a mercy-based relationship with him where we can draw upon his special graces. But God gives us all that we need, actually, not all that we want. There's a difference between these two things. Need is something that is actually uplifting for our soul. Want is something what we think is good for our body and mind and senses. So both may not be in sync. So when our prayer to God is asking for strength, he will give you difficulties to make you strong. That is the way you will develop strength. Not physical strength, but mental strength that is needed. Then it says, I asked for wisdom and God gave me problems to solve. That is how you acquire wisdom. If you don't have any problems in life, like you've seen some of the, in movies it shows, and even in real life, if somebody is born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they are given everything on a platter, they don't learn their lessons. Right? They end up becoming pampered grown-ups. It's like baby grown-ups, and they don't have wisdom just because they have not surmounted any obstacles. So wisdom comes only when you have difficulties, problems, or hurdles to climb. And this says, I asked for prosperity and God gave me brains and bronze to work. Of course, you can work towards that. That is why God has endowed it with this. I asked for courage and God gave me dangers to overcome. That's how you will develop courage. There's no other way to develop courage otherwise. How would you develop courage otherwise if you're not given these tests by God? Then I asked for patience. And then God puts us with people and situations where we are forced to wait. People who are in exceptional hurry, they end up in a lot of long queues. Okay, so if God has to teach you patience, then he will force you to wait, where you understand tolerance and patience is a great virtue to have. Right? The frequency at which we operate is at a much higher frequency than what this universe or the wavelength of this universe is. We are operating at a much higher pace. And when we start slowing down and looking at things in that manner, then a lot more clarity comes. Then the next one is, I asked for love and God gave me basically troubled people to help, where we can develop unconditional love, compassion towards them. And then I asked for favors, God gave me opportunities. Now make the most of these opportunities. I asked for everything so I could enjoy life. However, the key is, instead he gave me life so I could enjoy everything. It's a very beautiful prayer, actually, how the plan of God unfolds. And I received nothing I wanted. I received everything I needed. This is how it ends. It's a very beautiful page. I mean, you can take a note of it. I can share it with you as well. And someday it said, you will be grateful that God gave you what you needed instead of what you thought you wanted. Because it is said the worst thing God can do to anyone of us is to give us, basically grant all of our wishes. If God were to do that, we are anyway on a self-destruct path. We will actually on a suicidal mission. If everything that we think we desire is fulfilled by God, then our soul basically, or that is our true identity, will be in a rut. We are already in a rut. See, rut is something like in Canada, it says that choose your rut wisely, because once you choose, there are snow pathways in winters. Once you choose that, you are stuck in it for 10 to 15 kilometers. You cannot get out of it. And we are in that perpetual Maya rut that we are in. where we keep on craving for more and more and more, and our wish list never ceases to exist. We may become old, but our desire will remain young. So this is a very beautiful prayer to put things in perspective, that God does not give us what we want. He gives us what we truly need. And that is something which is very important. So when you ask for strength, God will give you difficulties to surmount, wisdom, problems to solve, prosperity, brains and broads, courage, dangers to overcome, patience. He'll put you in a situations where you'll be forced to wait. When you ask for love, help troubled people, favors, opportunities. And it's not about enjoying life, it's about giving you a life so that you can enjoy everything and you will receive everything that you need, not what you want. So next time you go to a temple and start ring a bell, keep this prayer in mind. That will really help, because this is essentially how we should approach God. In fact, Swamiji says that when we approach God, the only thing we should ask to God is for God, right? To develop love for Him and to have an impatience and vyakulta that they say, right? To have His darshan should be the only desire. Other than that, if we are asking for worldly things, doesn't make sense. So anyways, let's move on to what we have been discussing. So let's quickly do a recap and then we'll get more deeper into this topic. So we said no God, no peace. And no God, no peace. Very simple. Spellings are same, pronunciation are different, pronunciation is the same, right? If you know God, you will have peace. If you don't, then you'll have a lack of peace. This is how very simply it works. Okay. Now let's continue. And the key here is to discipline your mind and senses, because if you'll not do that, it's very difficult. We continue to cater to our lower nature. That will not give us the bliss. It's like an eczema, that itch will continue to persist. You may grow old, but your desire will continue to stay young. Okay. Then we looked at this example of bee, which is enjoying the nectar and doesn't care even though the petal is closing. The time is passing by and it continues to enjoy the nectar. And in the process, the petal closes, it gets transported to an elephant's stomach, because it was so hung up, attached to the nectar that it was enjoying. That lurking danger is there always for all of us as well, but we choose to ride that momentary gratification that we get from the worldly things, is what our scriptures are telling us. Be wary of that. Okay, because that's not going to be good for you in long run. Now, and the reason for that was, we looked at it, is an irresolute intellect, because our mind, we are not able to make up our mind, and that's why we keep on hankering for the sense objects, even though through our experience we know that whatever we have thought would give us happiness has truly not given us what we thought would satiate us. It's like living on 99. That one thing is still missing, one thing is still missing, and your mind will keep on playing tricks. You know what? If this happens, then I'll be happy. If this happens, I'll be happy. Once I'll retire, then I'll do this and then I'll be happy. So this is an hallucination our mind has created, kind of a mirage, because we are indulging in material senses or trying to satiate those by giving it more of what it's asking for. It's not going to do anything. It's like putting ghee in fire. The fire will keep on, it will keep on fueling the fire, not extinguishing the fire as such. All right. So, and the reason for that, I think by now we all know, we are divine. Fundamentals again. We are divine. Why are we divine? Because we are fragmental parts of God. Because we are fragmental parts of God, until we get God, because we are part, when the part is always seeking the whole is God. So we are part of the ocean. Until we reach that ocean or attain that ocean, we will never be satiated. And what we are doing is, although we are divine, we are trying to seek that happiness through material things. And material things will never give us that satisfaction, is what our scripture is telling us, because you are divine. You will never be satiated. that desire will remain young forever. Even if you go up to celestial abodes, Gandharvlok, Indralok, you become Indra, Brahaspati, Prajapati, all the way up to Brahmalok. You may have a very high level of luxuries and enjoyment there, better body, better possibilities of enjoyment, but still you will not be able to satiate your true self, which is the soul. Your soul will say, I need more. I still need more. Even Indra is afflicted with Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Maya. All the afflictions are there in Indra as well, because he is seeking the throne of Brahma. It's always there is something bigger, better that everybody looks up to. And that is a story of all of our life as well. So that is where we were. So let's move on now. Now, taking away from the world is not enough. Let's look at this concept. We spoke about this, why we are spontaneously in love with this world. It's just like a drug addict or a chain smoker, so much hooked on to cigarettes or drugs that is where it finds satisfaction. And if it doesn't get that, it has withdrawal symptoms. So gradually, it needs to be trained. Our mind needs to be trained. It is so much on what you call that steroids of this material world that your mind will not cooperate and it will rebel when you start taking it to God and seva and contemplation. All these things, it will say, no, no, no. I need my family. That is where the real sukh is. I need to hear the news. I need to check out the score. All that stuff will again keep coming back to your mind, because that is how it is habituated. That is what it has done since time, since eternity. This is what our soul has done. Look, trying to extract happiness from this world. So you cannot train it. It is not a unit step function that you will wake up one day and say, no, you know what, I've gotten detached. It's a gradual process. And that is what we are trying to do here. So Lord Krishna also explains to Arjun that the process is Vairagya, detachment, and Abhyas, practice. Practice and detachment, practice and detachment. That is what needs to happen. Now you may say, so we spoke about this concept that trying to fulfill desire, body became old, but the desire remained young. It's not going to happen just like that. And our mind will naturally go to world because it is made up of the same material as this world. We also like to see things where we have some resemblance. So mind will automatically go towards the material world. You'll have to train it to take it to the spiritual world, at least initially. God also understands it's not an easy process. He only checks our intent and the effort that we are putting in, which is called sadhan bhakti, which we try to do through our own endeavors. When we sit in ekant sadhana, or we are contemplating, or we are remembering God, God keeps on noting down our effort intensity. And at a particular point, only God knows what is that point. When your sadhan bhakti has reached a certain level, paripakvata, intensity, or threshold, then he will start mixing it with his grace. His grace means now that sadhan bhakti, he is going to take it to the next level called siddha bhakti. And when his grace starts mixing it, then all the efforts that you are doing, you start seeing the results around it. Your mind now naturally starts going towards God. On the contrary, in order for you to operate with the world, in this world, you will have to step down and then interact with people. That is called, you start getting into siddha bhakti, bhav bhakti. In that case, that those are the different levels of bhakti. So right now, the state that we are in, we have to perfect our sadhan bhakti. If we do that, that's a huge milestone, okay, for all the devotees. So if we are, if we are able to take our mind to God, and then God has started intervening with his grace, he starts mixing his yogamaya shakti, enlivening your meditations, where you start seeing, okay, I just saw Krishna. Now I can see him any moment. Those kind of things start happening. That's a huge milestone to get. So that is what we need to do. Now, the way it works is, let's look at it. Mind. We are talking about the mind part of it, right? So this is us. And we have like 2 ears and 2 hands, 2 feet. But God has multiple fingers, But God is very smart. He's given us only one mind. Right? If he had given us two minds, then we would have been very smart. He said, God, we have reserved one for you and one for the rest of the world because we enjoy world also. Okay, I want to check my IPL score and I like to spend time with our little one. His totally bhasha, the rust that I get, I don't get looking at your picture. So I will reserve it for the rest of the world, for my parents, family, friends, potlucks, and etc. So God said, no, that will not do. I will give you one mind only. And with that mind, either you keep world or you keep God. You cannot say I'm keeping you as well as world in it. That is where things get tricky, right? Ananyata and nirantarta, exclusivity and continuity is what God is asking for. Okay, and because he understands it's not going to happen. It's in fact, this argument will also not fly because it is just not possible to attach, have your mind attached to two things at the same time. You cannot have it. You always, there will be a top thing that is activated in your mind, and then there might be a bottom thing. So God says, move me at the top of your list and then empty rest of it. Okay, not just move me at the top, empty rest of it. That is the expectation if we have to do God realization. Yeah? Quite a bit of an ask. And he said, all the relations find in me only. Okay, we say that Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu cha Sakha. We say that prayer. He said, actually start believing in it, and I am yours, truly yours. Start believing in it. Start forming that relationship, and things will start falling in place. Yes, Sunita ji, you had a question.
Radhe Radhe Sunita ji, please go ahead.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Sandhya ji. In the point you have just mentioned that the mind cannot get attached to two realms at the same time. I don't understand it. I mean, mind can get attached to many things at the same time simultaneously.
True.
So why?
So attached, when you say attached, it cannot think about two things at the same time simultaneously, is what it means. And you may have attachments to multiple things, right? So God is also there in somewhere in that, but our top priority might be something related to the world. God says, first of all, move me at the top of your priority, and secondly, empty everything else. That is the state God is asking for as per Bhagavad Gita and our scriptures. Okay, very, very perfectionist and very, very possessive God. He said, me and only me. And he's not asking for himself. It's like saying, help me, help you. Because if you'll keep world, you will not have exclusivity. Ananyash chintayanto mam yojana paryupasate. God is saying in 9:11, Ananyash chintayanto mam, when you exclusively devoted to me, not God, you. So our problem, the problem that is making us repeat in this material world is the problem of one alphabet, akshar. Ha and bha. In Hindi, there is ha, and then there is bha. Ha means he, bha means bhi. Bhi means also, he means only. So what we have been doing in every lifetime, bhi. God, you are also there. God says it should be exclusively me. So we have God also there, world also there. God says it should be exclusively me. And that is the whole process of progressing in spirituality, where the proportion of our thinking for God increases and world ceases. That's when we will attain God, when it becomes 100%, where everything is emptied. It's only God, all the relationships, everything is related to God. Every thought and pore and fiber of your body is directed towards that. That is the state he's asking for. Okay, so hope it makes sense. And our mind cannot be impending. By the way, you may say that, I was neither thinking about God nor about the world. That is not possible. And when you are in world, it could be related to three things: either a person or an object or a thing. And what needs to happen is you start decreasing the proportion. When you decrease the proportion, in fact, when you increase the proportion, the decrease in proportion will automatically happen. You don't have to do it differently, separately. It will simultaneously happen. And when you reach this stage, like for example, the proportion of your mind in world has now completely ceased and it's completely absorbed in God, right? At that moment, that is the perfection God is asking for. And that doesn't mean now you run away from your duty. Next question immediately pops up, are you asking me to become a Baba or a Sant now? Leave everything? No, of course not. God says, continue to do your duty. Your mind could still be attached somewhere else. No, it's not going to be easy because our multiple lifetime practice, it would require practice and detachment. Now you say, how do I keep my mind in God when I have to do my duty? We do it all the times. So if you're a mother, do you ever forget that you are a mother even while you are teaching or doing any activity? You don't forget that. We don't forget that. A cricketer, he never forgets the field setting when he's facing the ball. Within split seconds, he's able to make the decision because it's that knowledge is at the back of his mind. Not even for a moment we forget what our true identity is. Do we forget, hey, by the way, who was I? No, we don't forget. I mean, whether we are a boy or a girl. So that is synonymous with our personality. And God says you contemplate and take it to that level where you're not even for a moment, that knowledge is separated from you. And then move it up your priority list where you're seeking everything from me. Nirasharit, basically, like Prahlad, he had nothing. Only thing that he had was faith on God and completely surrendered to God. That's it. Even fire could not burn him. Swamiji was giving that example today, right? So that is how it is. Now, Bhagavad Gita, the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is, it is both Brahma Vidya, the divine knowledge that we need to know from a scriptural standpoint, as well as Yoga Shastra. Yoga Shastra means it gives us the practical tools as well, how to go about it. And that is where Nirantarata and all these concepts which are coming up, the principles of surrender, the principle of karma, they're very practical. You can do it while following your life. Nobody's asking us to give up relationships or everything. It's just like change of consciousness. The way you look at things, change that. Attach it to God. Don't have sense of proprietorship. Don't try to control the results. Follow the process. Do it for my pleasure as opposed to doing it, massaging your own ego and those kind of principles. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Actually, it's a follow-up question from Sunita ji. She has asked, she's asking, can't mind be in complete thoughtless state?
If mind is in complete thoughtless state, then your mind will be thinking, I'm not thinking anything. So stilling that mind is like applying brake to a bicycle. It will be an unstable. I don't think that is possible actually. Right? A lot of philosophies say that. So in bhakti, they say you dovetail your mind. You attach it to God. Rather, you cannot keep your mind in a pending state. It is not possible. It is either in God or in world. There is no third place. It's a very simple principle. There's no third area actually. Like vacuum, if you are in vacuum, that is still in world. I don't know what that state would be, but it's either in world or in God. There's no other state. It cannot be pending. Mind has to be attached to something at any particular point in time. Either God or world. So it's like bicycle. Mind is like a bicycle. You apply brake to it, it will become unstable. You just change the direction from world to God. So all the things which are harmful for us, our spiritual progress in the world become our assets on the spiritual side. Desire, right? You may desire for more of God, more to hear about him, his virtues, more to contemplate upon his virtues, more to practice doing selfless seva towards him. All that stuff becomes an asset when we start to channelize or dovetail it towards God. It cannot be in a pending state. That's what scriptures say. It's either in world or in God. There's no third state. Okay, now, in order for us to cleanse our mind and to attach it to God, certain things are needed. And that's where we are going to have a bit of a discussion today. Now, you look at this, which one would you choose? A fly or being a honeybee? Swan or a crow? Let's have a bit of a discussion and then I'll move forward with another aspect of it, which is very important for our spiritual journey so that we can create an appropriate space for God in our mind or in our antakaran. All right, anybody who wants to take this question? And why is very important? You not say that I would like to fly like one of these, so that's why. Yes, Samji.
Yeah. Yes, Radhe Radhe Samji.
Radhe Radhe
Please.
Samji.
Radhe Radhe. I would like to be a swan because the reason being swan, like the swan, they have that example going on. It takes out the milk out of the mixture of water and milk. Fly will be on the always goes on the bad things, dirty things. Honeybee has some kind of greed for the nectar or whatever, like the example you was quoting earlier. It got entrapped into that lotus flower. Crow is a nonsense thing. It keep on one thing, it goes to the dirty thing. Second thing, it keep on crowing for nonsense thing. Doesn't enjoy himself and doesn't let anybody have any kind of peace of mind or something like that. So basically, it boils down to, in my case, general swan. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, a fair point. Very nice. By the way, Kakbhushundi, have you heard about Kakbhushundi? He chose to, yeah, sorry.
Curse of, yeah. But he wanted to be in the crow thing, but like that way he has a more inclination towards the godly things and listening.
I'm talking, yeah.
Different.
More of an exception, yeah. True.
Nagashandi.
So that is in devotion. Those are the possibilities in devotion. Kakbhushundi chose to have a body of a crow because Ram Bhagwan asked him, he gave him a boon that what should I? He said, I would like to continue with this body because in this body I realized you. And I don't want to let go of it. That is the level of his devotion. But that is not an ordinary crow. So that's more of an exception. But yeah, let's hear from others as well. Shyamji has raised his hand and Sri Ramya as well. Let's hear from them and have a bit of a discussion. One between swan and crow. Swan, Samji said, and he gave some reasons. And then we have fly and honeybee as well. Yes, Shyamji.
And I just read 2 comments. So Udayji says swan, which is in tranquility. And Maruti ji says swan because it looks beautiful.
It looks beautiful. By the way, I'll tell you a story. Crow said, you know what, how ugly I look. And you, swan, is, you look beautiful. So I wish God had made me like a swan only. Then you go to swan and swan said, you know what, I just have one color. Look at peacock, how beautiful it looks. No, the parrot, it has green color and a red color. Go to the parrot and he said, what good, people put me in a cage because of this, and look at the peacock, how beautiful it looks. It has rainbow colors, 7 colors in it. Go to the peacock and peacock said, because of it I am in a zoo. I should be on the other side. People come and look at me for entertainment. I wish it would have been better off like being a crow. So basically nobody's happy in this world. Okay, they're always thinking of the other thing, and then there's a price to be paid for however you do. Okay, so but good example. Shyam, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Shyamji.
Yeah. Radhe Radhe. There's also a comment in the chat box. Sairam ji has asked for a question. He said, what do you mean by sadhan bhakti? Is it only kirtan?
Okay, sadhan bhakti means where you are doing sadhana. Sadhana means training your mind. Training your mind means basically disciplining your mind and senses, which is what we are doing it in the shloka, right? Disciplining your mind and senses means when you have a reason or things and still you are able to control that, right? Where you are not the gulam or servant of your emotions, where your feelings and emotions are driving you. So when you have a reason to be upset and angry and still you are not, that is called sadhana. When you have a reason to get angry and still you are not getting angry, that is called sadhana. You're trying to train your mind and senses. And when you have a reason to fall for something that your senses are saying, go for it, and you say, no, it's not good for me, it's indulgence, that is called sadhana. So sadhana is basically nothing but training your mind to go against the tide. That is what God is saying. So when we start doing that, we start taking our mind to God. God also knows we cannot perfect it just like that because our mind is material. But he looks at our intention, our effort. We are trying to sit for Rup Dhyan, we are trying to take out time and contemplate upon him. And when we do that repeatedly, I don't know at what stage, he says, now it's about time, I need to start gracing him. So with your efforts, you were struggling, and now he's going to make it easier as you go along. And then you will not like to get up off sadhana until your wife will knock at your door and say, hey, you know what? We have to get groceries done as well. and then you have to step down, go for grocery, take care of your kid, do your duties, and again get back to that mode. So that is the Bhav Bhakti stage. So that is how we all should aspire to reach to that stage, at least in this lifetime, because Bhav Bhakti is when your true sadhana has started, where God has started intervening with his grace as well. It's not yourself, because with our self effort alone, we cannot really progress. And in path of devotion, he starts gracing, and that's where your spiritual journey and devotion starts taking another level altogether. So that is called sadhan bhakti, the first level of bhakti that we are trying to do here. Hopefully it answers your question, Sairamji.
Thank you so much. That's my case. I am in that state and my wife knocks me. Time to get up and I do my daily chores. And
Okay.
between these two questions, I would rather be Swan, because Swan is always dribbling, trying to swim around, and in upward it looks so shant, sheetal, peace, and it is, we don't see how hard it is for the Swan to be on the surface of the water. So that way,
Got it.
we all want to be calm and on the outside and inside also. And between honeybee and fly, I do not know much. Honeybee is always on honey, and the fly is everywhere, all around, over and over again. So I do not know how to take it.
All
Radhe,
right, I'll
Radhe.
get into that. I will explain that concept because there's another one. The fundamental difference between these two, which will tell us a little bit of an introspection we can do and reflect upon to take the key learning out of this slide. Yes, Shriramya, you wanted to add something?
And there are a few more comments if I could quickly read.
Sure.
So Sairamji says swan can also be called a Hans, and if someone reaches level of Param Hans, it is one of the most elevated state. And Seema says, I prefer being a fly since I can be instantly killed and reach moksha more quickly than other beings.
Sorry to
And
disappoint you,
Kripa,
Seema. Moksha is not getting killed, okay? You may kill the other person as a fly when they return the favor, or you get a chance to return the favor. But if that was the case, we'll all become flies and get moksha, instant moksha. I am. Okay, but yeah, wishful thinking, that's good. I mean, you are a diehard optimist, which is a good sign. So all right.
and Kripa says, I prefer the crow.
Okay.
Yeah, Shri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Shri Ramya, last one, and there I'll move the discussion forward because I have another slide to cover. We can continue on this one. Yeah, Shri Ramya, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Radhe Radhe. I feel it's the what they take in the honeybee. It goes to the flowers and takes the purest, fresh nectar of the flowers. And the fly dwells on anything and everything. It takes in whatever dirt or whatever. And swan is in fresh water. It takes the fresh fish and all. Whereas crow, it relies on the decayed meat and all. So maybe it's like what we take in also determines our behavior, something like that.
True. Yeah. So basically, for us in life, we have a choice around this. So if you look at a fly, it will get typically attracted towards garbage and things like that, pretty much all over the place. Honeybee would typically get attracted towards flower, honey, and stuff like that. Similarly, crows, you see a lot of crows gathered around garbage stuff, and in mountain lakes and tranquil lakes, that's where you would find swan. Now, the analogy that I was trying to drive home through this slide is, when we look at the world or things around us, what do we pick? What do we choose to dwell upon? Are we looking at the negative aspects of people or the world? Do we get attracted towards that, where we keep on focusing that in our head? Or do we look at their positive side of things? The choice is always us. Now, in every relationship, we could choose to become a fly or a honeybee, because every person is a bag of good things and bad things. Now, are we focusing more on the bad things and that takes our mind space? That means we are becoming a fly or a crow. Or if our focus is more around the good things, the positive things around those people, which is again a mindset that can be acquired. It's not something that we are born with. It can be acquired consciously, neuroplasticity, as we know, right? Then we become a honeybee or a swan. So the sooner we get to the swan or a honeybee state, the better off we are, because in the process, we are creating an appropriate space, or it's like when a dignitary is supposed to be welcome to your home, you need a clean place. You need to decorate your drawing room and you keep it clean. So we are cleaning our antakaran so that God can start making space, start revealing himself there. This is very important. Now, moving on, we'll come back to this to have a little more discussion. Moving on, you look at this guy, right? Look at the look on his face, basically. So what does he watch? What do you see is the key here. Now, one thing is, if you look at it on the like side, divinity in everything, right? Divinity, do you see divinity in everything? Which is what Samji was talking about. They are called Paramhans. Sai Ramji also brought that concept, like Shukdev. That is a very high state where you see divinity everywhere. Right? Ghatotkach's son, what was his name? Ghatusham Mandir is there. Babri San. When he came for the war, he could have turned the war upside down, Mahabharat war upside down. And Krishna tackled him on the way itself. He knew that Babri San, he's going to fight for Kauravas and he can turn the equation in no time. So he asked him, what can you do basically? Show me your skills. And Babri San put an arrow, and that arrow went to the entire tree and put all the leaves and put it at Krishna's feet. That was the level of this thing. Then Krishna said, can I ask you something? He said, go ahead, whatever. Krishna said, give me your head. And he did not hesitate. He chopped off his head and gave it to Krishna. When Krishna said, okay, do you have any wish? He said, sure, I want to watch the war. So he put his head on the mountain hole, that is where the Ghatusham temple is as well. And then Babri San witnessed the entire war for 18 days. And Krishna asked him, what did you see after the war? He said, I could only see you. Krishna fighting Krishna and Krishna doing everything around it. So basically, he could see God and divinity everywhere. That is the level of Paramhams. So that is the ideal state. We are not there yet. Now what happens? Divinity in everything. Then you have good in others, bad in others. Then do you see good in others? That is another thing that you could choose to see, or you have trained yourself to see. Or you see bad in others. That is how your mind goes. With our lifetime practice, it's typically the other one, bad in others. If you have somebody has 8 good things and 2 bad things, you will focus, your mind will go there and beat it to death in your head. This guy. And from a spiritual standpoint, it is said the first one is the state where you see divinity, which is called Paramhans state. The second one is, so it says see divinity in everyone. If you cannot do that, see good in others. And if you cannot do that as well, the third thing is at least do not see bad in others. Okay, these 3 options are available to us all the times. These are the stepping stone to cleaning our antakaran to create place for God. Because unless we do that, even your dhyan in God and all the sadhana bhakti that we're talking about, or the grace aspect of God, is not going to come. So this is a stepping stone for that, to have that kind of a mindset where we dwell upon the good aspect of others and start training our minds not to focus on the bad things. Yes, as a teacher, as a lawyer, as a parent, you may have to, which is fine. But other than that, nobody should have a kind of a mindset to keep on looking at the faults. If you're a lawyer, if your profession demands it, sure. As a teacher, yes. So that is like, thank God. And as a parent also, or a doctor, probably I think 3 or 4 people, they are allowed to look at mistakes because that's their profession demands it. But other than that, it is a good practice not to focus on that, because that will dirty our antakaran and take us further away from disciplining our mind and senses, which is what we are discussing in this shloka. All right, with that, I'll take a quick pause and open it up for any questions that you may have on whatever we have discussed.
Manoranjan ji has raised hand, or Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Manoranjan ji, Kabir Das Doha is coming. I can see that, sense that, feel that.
Absolutely, your sense, you have got a sixth sense. Am I audible?
Bura jo dekha main chala. Are you going to say that one?
No. Actually, you describe 2 birds and 2 insects. So let me have 2 dohas on these 2 birds and insects.
Today is a
I will-
special day then, please.
Yeah. So Kabir says that एक हंस और एक बगुला मानसरोवर माई, बगुला चाहे माछली हंस मोती खाए कबीरा, हंस मोती खाए. So Kabir Das is saying that in the Mansarovar lake there are 2 birds. One bird is a hans and other bird is a bagula, crane, right? And see their swabhavs, their nature. The bagula strives for fish, the crane strives for the fish, but the swan is eating the moti, the pearl. So this is the beauty. This is how we can differentiate between the 2 birds. There is one more doha of Sant Kabir about the flies and the madhumakhi, the bee. Kabir says that माखी गुड़ में जड़ी रहे, पंख रहे लिपटाए, मधुमक्खी है साधु जन्म, पुष्प बास चित दे कबीरा, पुष्प बास चित दे. Sant Kabir is saying that there is a difference between the flies and the honeybee. The difference is that the honeybee, the flies actually is triangled around the good, the molasses. But if you see a honeybee, it goes from flower to flower and it bears the fragrance of the flower within himself. See the beauty. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoranjan ji. Beautiful. You are able to pull out Kabir's dua at a drop of a hat, and just the precise and the right ones. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Very nice. And I see Arunji today as well. Welcome, Arunji, and thank you for turning on your camera. It's always a pleasure to see you. Great, Manoranjan ji. Very nice. I'll tell you one quick story. So Guru Drona in Kaurav and Pandavas, they ask Duryodhan. He gives an assignment to Duryodhan and who was the, I forgot the name. Dhritarashtra, I'm saying. Who was the oldest Pandav?
Yudhishthir.
Yudhishthir, yes. Yudhishthir and Duryodhan, he gives them an assignment. He asks Duryodhan to go and find somebody in the entire, go around and just check out, find out one person who's better than him. And then he gives Yudhishthir, go and find out somebody who's worse than you. Okay, and both go. And Duryodhan comes back, he said, did you find? He said, no, I could not find anybody better than me. And then Yudhishthir comes back, he said, even I could not find, come back and find anybody who's worse than me. So look at the difference in both of their attitudes. So we need to be more like Yudhishthir and less like Duryodhan is the key here. Because one is born out of ignorance and one is born out of humility. And if you have an attitude of Yudhishthir, then you will not be able to find faults in others. You would dwell upon your faults. See, it's like this. When I think about this, mind is obviously tricky, right? It keeps on playing tricks with us. Now, just imagine it in a real life situation. If you have, let's say, in school days, we used to have homework, right? Now, if you have this much homework to do and you're worrying about somebody else's homework, is it a smart strategy? All right. So we have so much homework to do ourselves, so many things to correct here, and time is running by, and we are worried about somebody else's homework that, you know what, they need to improve on this, they need to finish this. It's very dumb of us, actually, if you think about it. So when we start dwelling upon others' mistakes and telling them they need to improve on this, that is fine. That is their journey. How about focusing on completing our own homework? God is not going to give us a gold medal that, you know what, you told about somebody's mistake 10 times to them, picked a fight with them, kept on thinking about it. So here is your medal. No, it will count for nothing. You'll say, how much progress did you make? So that is the key. Okay, any other comments, thoughts, suggestions?
Can I make announcements?
Yeah, sure. Let's make the announcements and then we can come back to this.
Yes. So first announcement is that Swamiji's India's tour is going on. Now he's in Pune. So people in Maharashtra, gear up to meet him. I think right now he's in Pune and then he'll be in Mumbai as well. And I am sure like people in Delhi are still remembering the moments they've had with Swamiji, right? So yes, I will post the dates and in which city he will be on which dates. Next announcement is about Gita Jayanti. Bhagavad Gita Summit is going on. Today was the inaugural day. There was a wonderful lecture, keynote lecture by Swamiji. There was Pothi Yatra. I'm sure many of you might have participated and enjoyed it. And I think you can still watch the lecture because it was on YouTube. So you should be able to go and watch that link. So if you have missed out, please watch it now. It was really wonderful about Bhagavad Gita. I think that's the main announcement. And yeah, Bhagavad Gita Summit is going on. So today was the first day, 1st to 4th December. Tomorrow there'll be many talks. And I think on 3rd we have Bhagavad Gita chanting of all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. So do not miss out on that. And entire summit is streamed online. So anyone can watch it from anywhere. So yeah. I think that's it. I'll share the links in the chat and feedback tracker. So do not forget to fill the feedback tracker. Put your comments, feedback, questions, anything. Nitinji will look into it and get back to you. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you, Sandhya. And I want to remind you that tomorrow, because of Bhagavad Gita Summit, we have a lecture from one of our guest speakers going until 9:45, I believe, or may go till. So tomorrow's session will not be there. I'll see you next Tuesday now. But we'll keep you engaged and you can keep practicing the daily tracker, especially if you have picked up new things. That's a beautiful way to keep working on things that you do that, and you'll anyway get some videos around that part. So just wanted to remind you, tomorrow's session we'll have to call off because of the Gita Jayanti, and you can catch up online on the guest speaker who's going to come tomorrow. Okay. So with that, anybody else had any? So the key thing here is, like I said, the perfect state is to reach divinity, see divinity in all, which is like Paramhans. The second one is see good in others, which is like Hans. And third is, if you cannot see good in others, try to train your mind not to see bad in others. Because if two things happen when we see bad in others. One, we have dirtied ourselves. That dosh or that defect it's just a matter of time before it will come in you. And secondly, it's your pride talking, because when we find faults, we have already given ourselves a certificate that we are better than them. And pride is anyway not good. So spirituality is about, going against the normal run of your mind. That is the whole idea. And these are the principles given to us so that we can advance and not keep falling to the same trap that we have fallen lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because that is how our mind is trained. So it's reverse training that we need now. Yes, Sandhya?
There are some more questions in the chat. So one is like a general question from Aparnaji. Why is Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan on every slide? How are those connected to the topics every day?
Okay, so basically I try to put it, Shravan aspect I put where I am creating the slide verbatim or directly the commentary that Swamiji has written. That means that aspect, how the concept has been, the commentary has been explained. Manan is the analogies around it, right? Analogies where some stories are there, some examples are there that helps you contemplate that concept deeper. Like Swamiji explained, the first is you hear, then you contemplate upon it. When you contemplate upon it, it starts becoming pakka. And contemplation is equated to the rumination that a cow does. From one stomach to another to another. I mean, if we have 6 stomachs, we will probably eat 6 times more. Because cow has 6 stomachs, it just makes it finer and finer and finer. It sinks, absorbs everything from that. That is the contemplation aspect of it. And Nididhyasan I put where that is it. Your intellect should get convinced. This is something that you can practice. You should convince yourself with, because these are the stuff that our scriptures are telling us what you should be practicing. So the sooner we convince our intellect around it or make it as part of our belief system, the better it is. So that is how I put it that way, so that it's, it sticks and you can put it in your journal, spiritual journal. These are the things I'm going to practice from tomorrow, where you should simply take it like the words of the scriptures. Right? Swamiji said very beautifully, what is ethics? Ethics is simply living your life in accordance with the injunctions of your scriptures. So this is Nididhyasana, is make it a practice, put it in your journal. I'll try to see it good in others and try to refrain my mind from seeing bad in others. So that will make it part of your belief system and you'll be able to apply it practically. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, thanks. In fact, today Swamiji also very well elaborated on these three aspects, Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasana, and their importance.
Yeah, the contemplation is very important, because if you don't contemplate, it will not become pakka in your head. It will mere be an information, it will slip away. So that rumination part is very, very, very important in any knowledge that has to become part of your DNA. And Nididhyasana is making it part of your DNA.
Yeah, thanks. And there's one more question from Lakshmi ji. How would be the life if we view everything neutrally, like as neutral?
Neutrally, udasinta. Yeah, I mean, actually, the right way of that is called dispassion or disinterest, right? So you can see everything neutrally. I mean, in fact, it is said that when you turn away from world thinking, you know what, this world is full of misery, this and that, and then you turn to God, that is not the right way. It is called not a proper vairagya. When you turn away from this world thinking there is neither happiness nor sorrow in this world, you become neutral. That is the right way of approaching God, actually. So you approach neutrally, that is perfectly okay. But for you to reach that stage, you'll have to start practicing, right? I mean, you could, if you think you can look at everything neutrally, you're forfeiting an opportunity to imbibe good in others, right? Because you'll reject their good things also. It's like whatever. So yeah, whatever works for you. The key is to take your mind to God.
And yeah, I mean, Lakshmi ji has raised hand. I'll just pick her up. The Aparna ji responded to your explanation. She just said, thank you so much. I'm glad I asked. Thank you for putting such hard work in these slides regarding Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasana.
No worries, my pleasure. The pleasure is entirely mine. Okay, what I do, I get lot back in return, because it sticks in my head as well, right? So yeah.
Okay, Lakshmi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Is it clear? Because I'm in hospital, so that's why I chatted it.
Extremely clear and very audible.
Yes. Yeah. So if it is neutral, is it not moving away from our work or something like that?
Why would you be neutral? Means it's like not like you lose. Neutral doesn't mean that you will run away or you will do it less responsibly. That shouldn't be the case. That is what I'm saying. So we have to just look at it and see. If I were to do my office work, one way of looking at it is, you know what, I need to impress my boss. I need to get the bonus. I need to get a salary hike. I need to get the promotion. Okay. That is why I'm doing it well. The second way of looking at it is, I need to do it to the best of my ability. Wherever I leave my signature, it should be like, okay, I've brought my best version to this work. God will be pleased. Right? And if I, in the process, if I get promotion, I get a salary hike and all, I can earn more so that I can give more. So that is the way of looking at it, as opposed to trying to gratify your senses, you try to dovetail it. That doesn't mean you become negligent or you become less responsible. You still bring out your best version, but you are not attached to, things, mundane things like, okay, it should happen to me so that I can do this. It will happen as a natural byproduct of it. You doing your best in whatever you do.
I just want to share my experience just yesterday. Actually, my son applied for MS at US. He was rejected at the visa interview last year. So I was not in this phase so I couldn't support him. I couldn't make him realize that the time should come for his to go to US to pursue his higher studies. Then he said, okay, my fate and all that, but he could make it strong that He just waited for another chance. This time he was again rejected, not rejected, they said processing the day before yesterday in the interview. Then he came out very, upset. Then I said, the time has to come. I have faith in Krishna. He'll do it. I believe in him. He'll do it what is good for you. Then he was not satisfied. After my words, within an hour, he got a message that his visa has been approved, and within a couple of days, you'll receive it. So this is my faith, which is increasing in Sri Krishna. This I want to share. Thank you.
Right. So I think I showed that prayer. Maybe I should show you. See, when God has to teach us, when we have to learn this lesson of understanding that there's little we can control, we have to learn to let go. And then things happen by themselves as they are meant to happen. So that is the key. It's like a shadow principle. If you keep chasing the shadow, it will keep running away from you. And the moment you start running, the shadow will start coming behind you. Right?
Yes.
बिन मांगे मिले मोती, मांगे मिले ना भीख. यही है life की बहुत बड़ी सीख. I don't know that I just made myself, but yeah. But this is how typically it works, and you will see these things happen when you let go of it, when you make peace with it. The thing that you were jinxing just because you were so desperate about it just happens, and that is God's way to tell us, you know, this is the attitude you need to have in everything. Just leave it to me. I know what is good. Thank you for sharing that, Lakshmi ji.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lakshmi ji.
Radhe
And
Radhe.
congratulations for the visa
And
approval.
congratulations, yeah. Please go to that Hanuman temple, okay, visa temple as well, okay, where people go and put some prasad. So
And I hope he gets to visit Dallas when he comes to US.
yeah, we'd love to meet him here at RKT. So very
Yeah.
nice. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Okay,
So
we need to unmute you for that.
I thought I'll come.
Oh, you will come?
During his stay in the US, I thought I have to plan there and visit Dallas. Hope so that comes true.
No, yeah, sure.
that will
Yeah,
also happen.
I think between you and Shyamji, we will see who reaches here first.
Who will come first? Yeah.
Now we have the competition is on. Let's see who reaches here first.
Yeah. So
I saw Urvi. Urvi, what happened?
Praying for
We really need to
advocates,
hear
I
you.
don't know.
Or was it for the devotional segment?
Yeah, Urvi, I thought Urvi had raised her hand for the devotional segment. Okay, yes, she wants to. And Sunita ji, are you also up for the devotional segment? Or you want
No,
to contribute to discussion? Okay, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Sunita ji.
Okay. Here, neutrality, what I have understood that it is good to see good in others. So that should be our mentality. But since we are not that much elevated, so it is better that we should not see bad in others. I mean, we should, neutrality means we should accept that, okay, this person, some kind of bad qualities he has, but okay, it's okay. We should accept it and do not, bother much. So is it so? Is it like that?
True,
That
true.
means,
Basically, the way it goes is, see, if you ask me today only in my wife, I was seeing bad things, okay. Then I had said, okay, you know what? I said that you are actually a gem. Then I had to make up for it. But the point is, our mind is so habituated of doing that we have to train ourselves. So Swamiji tells it very beautifully. He says, be stringent with yourself and lenient with others. Our process is just the opposite. We are very lenient with others. Chalta hai, it's okay, I made a mistake, next time and we are very strict with others. How could you do that? So we reverse it. We become lenient with others, that okay, they are also under Maya like I am. We are all a bag of good and bad things. If I'm looking at the bad thing, they have 10 other good things also. So those kind of training we have to do until it becomes a mind, or become neutral about it. It's like either neutral or positive, but not negative. That is the key.
thank you.
Yeah.
Urvi also has a question actually.
Yes,
She has
Urvi.
raised it. Yeah, so Radhe, and I mean Annapurna ji also. So maybe I'll first take up Annapurna ji.
Sure.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Annapurna ji, good to see you after a while.
Yes, I was listening to, this goes back to Duryodhana and, Yudhishthir, they were asked to find, who is the best person or who is the worst person, this assignment was given. And then, I remember that Duryodhana comes back and says that I couldn't find anybody worse than me, as though he is good in everything. I couldn't find anybody.
Did I reverse it? Okay. Probably.
No, not that. But I know a little more story about what happened to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira goes on and he could never find anybody who were better than him. Then finally he comes to some place where one man was taking a water that day. Maybe it was Ekadashi or something. And then he thinks, oh my God, Ekadashi day, he's going to drink water. Oh, I never drink water, something else like that. But then right away he notices that he puts that water on his head and takes bath, He gets the water from the well and takes water. Then he says, oh my God, how come I saw bad things in him? There cannot be anybody worse than me. Being a Dharmaraya, I have done this. I remember that story. I thought, let me finish it off. I remember some, in some session mentioning like that.
Thank you very much. Yes, you completed the story. Very true.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Such an interesting story, because Mahabharata is always interesting. You can listen different number of times. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much, Annapurna ji. Beautiful. Very nice for completing that story, providing the additional context. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you, Annapurna ji. She very cutely described the story. Very nice. Okay, Urvi, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead with your question.
Radhe Radhe. I had my question about Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan. So, Maharaji says that like we can do Shravan, and after that we'll also do Manan. But if we have this illusion that we've understood something, that is why we are not able to implement it, and we are trying to implement it. And the fact that we are trying to implement is the proof that we've not understood it. So we can do Nididhyasan. We actually, I don't know. So I was wondering if I can just do Roop Dhyan and not focus more about doing Manan so that I can do Nididhyasan, because that ultimately confuses me. But then I'm always confused that what should I give more time to?
I think what you're doing is you're right. Split out the time, and if you can do Roop Dhyan, Maharaji will take care of your sadhana, okay? The Tattva part of it. So what you are doing right now is good enough, but focus on what works out best for you, and he'll take care of that Tattva. If when you do it with an intensity, the Gyan will start getting revealed. So don't worry too much about it, Urvi. Don't analyze too many things. You are doing just fine. And by the way, Shankaracharya ji had said that Shravan, 100 times more powerful is Manan, 100 times more powerful is Nididhyasan. So it just keeps on amplifying as we progress, from each stages. But Urvi, you are doing just fine, okay? All you need to do is turn up here, turn on your video, and sing bhajans and leelas. That's all you need to do. Okay, everything else will be taken care.
And Roop Dhyan is also very, very powerful. So, and Urvi's question, I think if we have to give award, it was the cutest question of the day.
Yeah. See, she's like Tulsi Das ji saying, "Oso kon kutil khal kami." So she's like, I'm always confused. But if you look at the questions that she asks, she confuses me also. Okay, at times, like, okay, where did that question come from? Very profound, very thoughtful, but you're doing good, Urvi, regardless. Thank you for the question. Yes,
Awesome.
Arunji, good to see you.
Yes, welcome back, Arunji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Please.
Radhe, Arunji. Yes.
Yeah.
Radhe Radhe. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, it was a very basic question similar to what Sunita ji was asking before. Just wanted to know if there are any simple ways in which you can, sort of see the good things in people, even when, say, there are certain tendencies or frictions or arguments. Because during those periods, you tend to see a certain thing happening again and again, and then you conclude that this is the way a certain person is, right? And that's the whole problem, right? And then, you know, at that point, trying to see the good thing in people is a little challenging, right? In the spur of the moment. So I'm just wondering if there are any simple ways around this, or as a process to imbibe.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a hierarchy similar to that Swamiji has given, that for people who are elevated, look at the good things in them to inspire yourself. People who are inimical to you and too negative, just become neutral. See, it's just like, again, it's a training of mind. There is no quick pill for that as such. But think of it like this. If you go to a mental asylum or a hospital, would you complain why everybody is sick here? You won't, right? So you preempt it. We all are under the influence sway of Maya, and anybody can say anything to anyone at any time, and we should not be surprised. In fact, if people would behave well with you all the times, that should be surprising. If they don't behave well with you, you should not be surprised, because you're already in the world of Maya. Anybody can say anything and do anything to you anytime, and if you get surprised, oh my God, what did happen? That means you didn't apply that knowledge. So preempt it. And if things are going okay, it's like, all right, thank you, God. You know, something is good is happening, because that should be surprising if things are going well with you and everybody is behaving just perfectly with you. This is not the design of the world. We are all in the sway of Maya. So preempt it. It's like visiting a hospital or a mental asylum. Then you will not be disappointed. And then you simply neglect it, reject it, and become neutral to that. That, okay, this person has its own challenges. Let him deal with it. Why should I waste my time, energy, emotions, thoughts on somebody? And let him basically deal with that pattern. So, but for other people, we deal with compassion. Like if it's our own very near and dear one, we put in a bit of an effort, but that is born out of compassion, not out of bitterness, right? Because we are genuinely trying to make a difference in their life.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you're able to see the divinity,
that negativity goes away. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're able to see the divinity in everyone, that will be the best possible scenario. But that is a very
ultimate thing, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So before that stage, I was just curious. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It's going to be a bit of a while. So a lot of spiritual strength, practice, sadhana is needed to reach that level.
Yeah.
Where you become completely, but we have to start taking some steps around it, right? And our mind will not cooperate unless we're doing it consciously and mindfully. You know?
Yeah.
Immediately we become upset if we see some bad, rude behavior around us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arunji. Okay,
Yes.
Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe. Aparna ji, please go ahead.
Is it for the devotional segment you want to sing today, Aparna ji?
No. I had a quick question,
Okay,
and that too, it's not exactly related to the things that we are talking about, but I always had this on the back of my mind. Desires, when they are fulfilled, you know, it leads to greed, and when they are not fulfilled, you know, it leads to anger, right? But what about you know, disappointment and dejection and just not wanting to do anything and, you know, losing confidence? So we don't discuss about that. So I was wondering, what is that state? That's some kind of, is that response to not fulfilling desires is also accounted for? How do we
when we get disappointed, basically disappointed is also a mellowed down form of you know, you don't get upset, but you get disappointed, right? Hatash, because you are so attached to the result and you did not get it. There's an attachment there as well, right? And then you have to look at it. You don't control the results. And then when you think God is with you, he has best interest in his heart for you. You have to have faith in it. When you apply surrender principles, that should help you get out of that disappointment. Disappointment is because your attachment was not fulfilled, basically, right? It is also getting born out of desire only, in a way, if you think deeply about it. And people who, if you feel the presence of God with you, truly believe that he's residing within you and he's your firm well-wisher, then you should be filled with enthusiasm. The devotees, they never get disappointed. And one of the symptoms of being on the path of devotion is you are always full of enthusiasm and positivity and hope, and not dejection and disappointment around it. We just have to look things in perspective, right? We again start picking up a very small thing here. It's like complaining about shoes until you see somebody without feet. So we have to look at it in perspective, you know, what we have. And when we start filling our heart with gratitude, automatically disappointment will go away. Yeah, we start focusing on that one little thing that you don't have or didn't happen. How about the numerous other graces that God has given us? We forget that. So with knowledge, we can beat any kind of mental state that we are in. And that is why this scriptural knowledge is very important. We became human. We have functioning body. We got this spiritual knowledge. We got a guru. How many people get that? So after hitting the jackpot, if you are getting disappointed for small things in life, that means we need to again start looking at things in perspective. If things were to go wrong, they can go wrong really bad with so many people around. So yeah, dejection has to be defeated with sense of gratitude around things that we have, rather than focusing on things that probably did not work out for us in life.
Thank you.
If we can continue on this discussion, I think it's a very good question. Yes, maybe one more, and then we get into, I know we are again in 20. So are you going to sing already? We are into the devotional time already. Or if you have questions, you can put it in the feedback tracker. We can have an offline conversation, or maybe bring it to the next session. Sandhya, you wanted to sing today? Okay.
Yeah,
Very good question.
Not the question, Bhajan, but only if we have time. Otherwise, I can
Sure,
continue.
I can have Bhajan. And Manishi, you
wanted to chant as well?
Yeah, I wanted to suggest, but if we're running low on time, I can suggest tomorrow. But yeah, I'll sing today too.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay, he wanted to participate in discussion as well as singing, if I got it right.
Okay, so let's continue then. I know we are over time, so let's spend last few minutes, maybe 4, as Sunita ji is there as well. We can have a bit of a devotional segment then, because we're running late on time as well. So yes, please go ahead. It's all prerogative, our co-host prerogative to call out.
Yeah, Sandhya ji, please, you go ahead. Radhe Radhe. Yeah.
Thank you. Atma Ramananda Ramana, Atma Ramananda Ramana, Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana, Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana, Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana, Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana, Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana, Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana, Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana, Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana, Sachidananda Sri Satya Narayana, Sachidananda Sri Satya Narayana, Atma Ramananda Ramana, Atma Ramananda Ramana, Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana, Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana, Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana, Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana, Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana, Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana, Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana, Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana, Sachidananda Sri Satya Narayana, Sachidananda Sri Satya Narayana, Atma Rama Ananda Ramana. Thank you all.
Very nice, Sandhya ji. You always take us to a different state altogether. And this is a very beautiful bhajan doing the rounds. Even on Instagram, I saw that, right? It's a very nice bhajan. And
thank you.
It's the trending bhajan.
It's a trending one. Beautiful.
On social media.
Thank you so much.
You seem to have memorized it as well. Beautiful.
Yeah, I did little fast because we are running out of time. So
thank you so much. But yeah, it was very nice. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, Sandhya. Next then.
Next, Manishji. Radhe Radhe.
Manishji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I'll make it quick too. Ram Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ho Mangal Bhavan, Amangal Hari. Dravam Sudasrat, Ajir Bihari. Ram Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Oh Hari Anant, Hari Katha Ananta, Kahu Sunahu Bahu, Vidhi Sab Santa. Ram Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice. Beautiful Ram Bhajan. Very devotionally sung, Manishi. Very nice. Thank you so much for that. You get a heart for that as well. So wonderful. All right. Who's next then?
Next is Urvi. Radhe Radhe Urvi.
Here you go, Urvi.
Radhe Radhe. I'll sing Matwari Pyari Chal.
Please go ahead. Urvi is our little gopi. Go ahead, Urvi.
मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल जाके लोचन रसाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल जाके नीले नीले गाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल जाके घूंगर वाले बाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल. Radhe Radhe.
Beautiful, Urvi. So nice, and it's such a beautiful bhajan Maharaji has composed. You know, some of his bhajans are so amazing. It's almost like, you know, he's looking live at that Leela and penning it down. And so beautifully you sung that. I think you do a lot of Roop Dhyan on this one. So very beautifully sung. Thank you so much. Like always. A lot of hearts, I can see that.
Perfect for Roop Dhyan.
Like
Thank
always.
you. Urvi.
Very nice. Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah.
Now we have Sunita ji, and I've not seen her mic as yet. Here you go.
That must be underway. Yes, Sunita ji, please go ahead.
Okay,
Radhe
okay,
Radhe.
got it. It'll make duck news, but not yet.
She's
you're
not.
You're muted.
Just a minute. Yes, Sunita ji.
Go
How
ahead.
can I mix my mic? Bhajan wala mic.
Bhajan wala mic, Hanji. All yours. The floor is all yours, Sunita ji. What are we hearing today? Tere Naam movie or?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Sorry. Was I audible?
Yes,
but
you're audible.
a little less, but you were audible.
Now, fine.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Today, I'm going to sing bhajan of Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya, and it is more like a lesson and less like a bhajan. It is an eye-opening, enlightening bhajan. The meaning of it is very profound. So try to grasp it. Actually, it has 33 verses. So today I'm going to sing 6 verses along with the meaning. I will sing one verse and again I explain the meaning, and again then I'll sing another verse.
Is it going to be Bhaja Govindam?
Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudho Mate, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudho Mate, Samprapte Sanni Hite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrinkarane, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrinkarane, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudho Mate. Worship Govinda, O fool, because rules of grammar or intellectual reading of scriptures will not save you at the time of death. So next. Mudha jahi dhanagama trishna kuru sadbodhim manasi vitrishna yallabhase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chitam vittam tena vinodaya chitam bhaja govindam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudho mate. O fool, give up your thirst to amass wealth. Rather, devote yourself or your mind to God, which is real, and be content with whatever little you get as a prarabdha. So next one. Naristana bhara nabhidesham drishtva maga mohavesham etan mansava swadivikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam manasi vichintaya varam varam bhaja govindam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudho mate. Do not get absorbed in delusion by going wild with passion and lust, by seeing a woman's navel and chest, because there are nothing but a modification of flesh, and never fail to remind this truth to your mind again and again. So next. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam tadva jivati atishaya chapalam vidhi vidhabhi managrastam lokam shokahatam cha samastam lokasokahatam cha samastam bhaja govindam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudho mate. The life of a man is as uncertain as raindrops trembling on a lotus leaf, knowing that the whole world remain a prey to disease, ego, and grief. Worship Govinda. Only worship Govinda. Yavat parjana, yavat dvito, parjana saktaha, stavan nija pari, varo raktaha, pasya jivati, jar jar dehe, vartam ko bina पृच्छति गेः वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेः भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढ़ो मते. So long a man has strength in his body to support his family, everyone around you will show their affection. But when your body becomes feeble due to old age, and no one at your home, then no one, even at your home, cares to have a word with you. And grasping this reality of human life, worship Govinda. And the last one, Yavat Pavano Nivasati Dehe त्यावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवति वायो देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये. When one is alive, everyone asks about his welfare. But as long as the soul departs from the body, his family members, even his wife, run away in fear of the body without soul. So, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja मूढ़ो मते गोविंदम भजा मूढ़ो मते. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. This is it.
Sunita ji, you have raised it to another level altogether. I think we should have a standout time just for you during the sessions. I must say that it was like solid Tattva Gyan, beautifully sung, and I know I think this is the first time we did something like this, where not only singing but explaining the meaning of the Tattva Gyan around it as well. So I don't have any words. No words can do justice to it, to what you
This
did.
is my
So
enlightening bhajan, just given by Adi Shankaracharya Jagadguru.
very nice. And I just want to tell a quick anecdote around it. Jagadguru Shankaracharya, he is the Jagadguru. He was the Jagadguru after the first Jagadguru after Buddha came. And on the Gyan Marg, people worship him. Right? He's the epitome basically from of all the acharyas in the Gyan Marg. But if you actually look at it, even Maharaj Ji explained about it, he was actually a Rasik saint. So in private, he did Krishna Bhakti. Even though he propagated the message of Gyan Marg to the rest of the world, because that was the need of the hour, in private, he did Krishna Bhakti. Right? Vrindavan, Kanan, beautiful meditation that he has created. And he taught this Bhaja Govindam to his mother also. And it's a very, very beautiful, it has so much of loaded Tattva Gyan in it. The reality of life and why we need to put our mind only to the lotus feet of Govinda, which is Lord Krishna himself. So thank you so much. Can't thank you enough. And it's an honor to have you in these sessions. And would love to hear the remaining 30 verses as well as the time passes by.
Yes, I will.
You can get these clips out and put it out, for the benefit of participants who couldn't do that.
Yes, exactly.
We can do that. Urvi and team, you can make note of that. So good. All right.
Yeah.
So with that, I know we are way over time. So let's hear from Shyamji. I think he wanted to say something. And then just a quick reminder, tomorrow we are not going to have the session. I'll miss it. But we'll be back in action from Tuesday morning, Sunday, and Monday evening US time. Yes, Shyamji, you wanted to say something? Shyamji is overwhelmed with emotions. We all are. Gave us goosebumps. I must tell you that. Yes, Shyamji, go ahead, please.
Radhe, Radhe, so true. Two things. First, for Urvi, that the way she says, na, it now Krishna only want this sadhya, this bholapan. He's totally mantramugdha on Urvi for her sadhya and bholapan. This is what he wants. So Urvi, you should not fear about Shravan, Manan, Uday, Janan. Just be the way you are, and you are there. Trust you me. And for Sunita ji, I want to see your mic because आपके mic में बहुत कमाल है. आपका mic वाकई में भक्ति के लिए ही आपने लिया गया है. इसका आप किसी और चीज के लिए इस्तेमाल ना करें तो अच्छा रहेगा, नहीं तो हम लोग इससे वंचित रह जाएंगे. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, द मोर आई नो आई नो नथिंग. मतलब इतना कुछ है हमारे इस ग्रुप में कि मतलब मैं क्या बोलूं. मैं सिर्फ गाने गा पाता था, मतलब आज से पहले कृष्ण भगवान के. तो सुनीता जी तो कहाँ से कहाँ पहुंच गई है, और इनको मैच करना एक अलग ही एक क्या बोलेंगे अभ्यास रहेगा किसी के लिए भी. और आई वांट हर दैट शी शुड ऑलवेज सिंग एंड एवरी क्लास शी शुड सिंग. पहले वी हैड पायल जी, सिंस नाउ शी इज नॉट देयर बिकॉज ऑफ टाइमिंग्स, एंड वी हैव अनदर जेम. मेरे को लगता नहीं है कि हमारे पास जेम्स की कमी है. अकबर हैड 9 जेम्स एंड वी हैव 100 जेम्स हियर. सो हम लोग उससे भी कई ज्यादा धनवान है. सो सीता जी प्लीज गो ऑन एंड ऑन. और मैं भी ट्राई करूंगा एक माइक खरीद लूं आपसे मिलता जुलता. मैं भी ट्राई करूंगा ऐसे भगवान के भजन गाने के लिए. और one day someday I will come close to you and we can have duets on this platform. Radhe Radhe.
Wow, I mean that's amazing. It's
तो
another
तबला
level of.
सीख रहा हूँ आजकल, शायद मैं तबला बजा सकूं.
नहीं,
और I
मैं
will ask
पहले
my son to play the piano there.
मैं किसी के साथ compete करने के लायक नहीं हूँ. आप पहले ही जीते हुए हैं, मैं पहले ही हारी हुई हूँ.
मैं जीतने की बात नहीं कर रहा सीता जी, यहाँ पर आपसे हारने की बात. मैं बोल रहा हूँ साथ गाना गाएंगे, भजन गाएंगे. मुझे जीतना नहीं आपसे, मैं हार के जीत चुका हूँ.
ठीक है, आप
शुक्रिया,
पहले
धन्यवाद.
सुनीता जी के साथ गाते हैं या डेलिस आते हैं, वो हम देखते हैं. ठीक है.
मैं वो तो आप क्या, मैं नहीं जानता कि वो कब कैसे होगा. बट एक मेरी तमन्ना है, ड्रीम है. एंड आई विश
आप
कृष्णा.
कहाँ से? आप गुड़गांव से? हैं, मेरी सिस्टर गुड़गांव में रहती है.
मैं दिल्ली में रहता हूँ सुनीता जी, हमारे बहुत
जी,
पास
मेरी
में है.
सिस्टर.
कभी
हाँ,
आप
वो
आए तो
गुड़गांव.
बताइए हमें, हम साथ मिलेंगे, साथ गाने गाएंगे भगवान के लिए.
जी जी, आपको कांटेक्ट करूंगी क्योंकि दिल्ली में वो लोग शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं, द्वारका के पास शायद.
तो मेरी सिर्फ
बताइए
इतनी
मुझे.
रिक्वेस्ट है कि जब भी आप गाना गाएं साथ में उसकी रिकॉर्डिंग करके सेशन में जरूर लेके आएं.
लेकिन श्याम जी से मुलाकात कैसे होगी? अच्छा, ओके, मैं कभी दिल्ली जाऊंगी तो आपको बता
श्याम जी
दूंगी.
से मुलाकात करने के लिए आपको डेलिस आना पड़ेगा.
दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट. थैंक यू सो मच.
श्याम,
मेरी तमन्ना है, ड्रीम है. और आई एम श्योर कृष्ण भगवान जी वन डे उन्होंने मेरे हर काम पूरे किए, ये भी पूरा करेंगे. लेट्स सी कब और कहाँ कैसे, बट आई विल वन डे फॉर श्योर.
तो बाय द वे श्याम जी, हम यहाँ नुक्कड़ नाटक स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं डेलिस में. तो आप आ जाएंगे तो हमें एक किरदार मिल जाएगा. वी विल रियली वेलकम योर एंट्री हियर. वी आर लुकिंग फॉर talented people and you have abundance of it, so we want to do nukkad natak and we will have a role carved out for you. So whenever you plan to come, do let us know.
मैं तो हर
श्याम जी
रोल
तो
में
हमारे
तैयार हूँ.
डायरेक्टर भी बन सकते हैं.
एनीथिंग फॉर माय कृष्णा, एनी रोल, चाहे वो गाय का है, चाहे पेड़ का है, चाहे बांसुरी का है. आई एम ऑन फॉर इट.
Okay, great, wonderful session. I know we take a lot of time, but it's time doesn't, I mean, it just flies by after 10 o'clock. After that, I think about 15 minutes for this devotional segment. We'll try to moderate it, but it just flies by. And by the time it ends, it's like I feel more rejuvenated. It's like my day has just started. So thank you very much to each one of you for making it such an engaging and rejuvenating session every day. And Sunita ji and all the singers, Urvi and Manishi and Sandhya ji, beautiful. Can't thank you enough for making every special more memorable than the previous one. Okay, that's how it has been going, and I'm thoroughly feel privileged to be part of this wonderful group. So thank you again for this, everybody. Have a wonderful day, great rest of your evening and a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Stay blessed and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita Jayanti lecture that is going to happen from one of the guest speakers. and we'll be in touch. Radhe Radhe, good night, good day. Bye bye from my side, and do fill out the feedback tracker if you have not already. Okay, so thank you very much.
Yes, you have said it all, Nitinji. Radhe Radhe, everyone. Thank you. I'll stop the recording as well.
Sure. Bye bye.